Welcome in. Good morning. Great to be here on KCMO Talk Radio. We appreciate you joining us, and we always appreciate the time of Republican candidate for Missouri Governor Bill Eigel, state senator from the other side of our state. He joins us on KCMO. So Bill just launched his campaign here in the last couple of weeks, and he went viral on X, formerly known as Twitter, in the last 24 hours because he was at the St. Charles County Freedom Fest in Defiance, Missouri. And he took a flamethrower to a bunch of cardboard boxes. I mean, maybe it's not all that crazy. It's America, right? You can light cardboard boxes on fire with a flamethrower if you so choose to, last I checked. So for some reason, this caused some to melt down on social media. And then as of last night, Bill Eigel's X account was suspended. But now it looks like, last I checked this morning, it's back. Is that right, Bill? Good morning.
Hey, good morning, Pete. That is right. I guess X realized that the backlash they were getting for censoring a major gubernatorial candidate was more than they cared for. So you're right. And the reason this went viral is that from the moment the video of me pointing a flamethrower and setting on fire a few cardboard boxes hit the web, every leftist on earth declared that I was actually burning books. But I can assure you and all your listeners that no books were harmed in the making of that video. But the truth didn't matter to any of these crazy leftists, and the videos went viral all over the planet. And I am now the first candidate in this race to successfully trigger every single leftist on earth with a single video. And the truth doesn't matter to these guys. I mean, of course the truth doesn't matter to these guys. These are the guys that are saying that men can get pregnant. So the truth, there was never even an issue on whether or not, regardless of what we were actually doing in that video, mattered not. It went around the world, and then it went viral again when everybody realized that it was a lie.
Yeah.
And so we have had, Pete, I've been attacked from the moment I declared I was running for governor, and I think it's because a lot of folks, especially on the left, they're terrified that a guy like me is going to get in there in Jefferson City and change things. And that fear is driving the viral phenomenon.
Well, it's amazing. You're right, because I admit I didn't see the video until after it went viral, and I had people reaching out to me, hey, did you see Bill Eigel's burning books in a field in Missouri? And I'm like, I'll check it out. And then I see that it's just a bunch of cardboard boxes that you took a flamethrower to, and somehow people insisted that you were burning books, and people were calling you, essentially a Nazi.
Again, the truth never mattered. The truth was never an issue, but of course it wasn't. It didn't matter. I mean, these are the same folks that are weaponizing the Justice Department to go after Donald J. Trump. These are the same folks that were the leaders of the COVID crazy environment that were shutting down our businesses and forcing masks on our kids. The truth doesn't matter. These are the folks that are trying to pass procedures to castrate and mutilate children. So the truth doesn't matter to these guys, and they got out in front of themselves on something that was so clearly not the truth and pushed it to be viral because they're desperate for a narrative that guys like me are the bad guy, because they're terrified that guys like me are actually what's going to fix this state. So I've been called it. There is a long line of folks like this that are calling me names and attacking me every day, and there's a really good chance that is going to continue for the next 11 months. That's okay. I'm not afraid. I'm not going to take anything back or apologize for our bold stances. Let's go, Missouri.
Bill Eigel is joining us on KCMO Talk Radio. He's running for governor. He had this viral social media video that got him temporarily suspended from X yesterday because he took a flamethrower to a bunch of cardboard boxes. When you mentioned the fact that you're the one that you think your opponents fear in this race, why don't you think they fear your primary opponents, Jay Ashcroft and Mike Kehoe?
Well, I think they actually are very comfortable with Mike Kehoe and Jay Ashcroft if those guys eventually become the nominee and become the governor, because they know that those two guys are just going to continue kind of the status quo that they've been profiting from in Jefferson City for more than 2 decades. I mean, look at all our government spending. We're spending $51 billion right now down in Jefferson City. It's up from $20 billion in 2010. And for every dollar we spend, there's somebody out there that's getting that dollar. And they're saying to themselves, the grift is going to continue under Kehoe and Ashcroft, so they're fine. We don't need to pay attention to them. But if Eigel gets in there, he's going to go down to Jefferson City and kick over all these apple carts that we have very nicely and carefully set up. So he's the one we got to fear. And they're right. You know, Pete, I have made a habit out of rubbing against the grain down in Jefferson City. Everybody in Jefferson City absolutely hates me for it. And that's okay. I don't answer to those folks. But as we're going around the state of Missouri, we are finding a tremendous level of support for folks wanting to have that fighter in Jefferson City. And there's going to be a long line of these leftists or folks that are terrified of that new Missouri, that better Missouri, and that's okay. They can call me all the names they want. I don't know that I've been called a name in the past 48 hours that I haven't already been called in the past 7 years. No worries. We're unafraid. It's going to be great, and our message is going to continue to spread.
I didn't realize that number. You're saying the Missouri budget's jumped 150% the last 13 years. You mentioned the apple carts. You're going to knock over some of those. Give me just one example of one of those apple carts that you think the status quo in Jeff City is afraid of having knocked over.
Well, if you're talking about specific budget items, I would say let's start with the $2 million for the new parking lot for the women's soccer team there in Kansas City. That's probably not something that if I would have funded if I had a choice between that or bringing taxes down a little bit. What about there's a dinosaur museum for kids over on the other side of the state that we probably don't need to fund. I'm not a supporter of tens of millions of dollars going to stadium improvements for private stadiums all over the state. So there is in fact, look at the state workforce. We have a 55,000 person state workforce, and at any given time, 5,000 to 7,000 of those positions are empty, but we're paying for them anyway. So these are the kind of wasteful items that we have put into this budget over the past 13 years, and we just really haven't put any effort into finding any efficiencies in government. And because we've been growing that spending so much, we haven't made time to do the important things like how about cutting property taxes? I know in Jackson County, where you're at, Pete, that property taxes are out of control. Well, if we weren't so busy growing government, we could actually cut those taxes and put a limitation on them, but we won't. That's what I'm going to change.
Well, he is Bill Eigel. He had quite a moment yesterday. I'm glad you're back on the free speech platform that we think X is. I'm glad that was a temporary suspension, ridiculous, but temporary. And we'll be following on the campaign trail. Bill, thanks so much for being here.
Thanks, Pete. We'll talk soon.
All right. That is Bill Eigel on KCMO Talk Radio.